Hey guys, I'm Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review Sherlock Gnomes. So, I tricked myself into seeing this movie yesterday. Considering when this is coming out, that should just be on me. So, this follows the movie Romeo and Juliet, another retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Now, they felt it necessary years later to tell the tale of Sherlock Holmes as Sherlock Gnomes. Oh boy. So the movie starts with some narration, gnome puns, which is something is just whatever. Yeah, you have Moriarty. He's like the main bad guy in the Sherlock stories. He's like this baby doll thing, and he's like, Sherlock, whatever. And he's facing off with Sherlock, and they're doing this thing. Uh, so Watson, Sherlock's little buddy in crime, gets overlooked, and the instant it happens, the moment it happens, it's like, oh, I wonder who the main villain of this movie is gonna be. It's not like Watson's gonna suddenly attack based off of the obvious looks he gives the audience. Oh wait, that's what ends up happening. Oh no. Only to find out way later in the movie that Moriarty doesn't end up being really killed, so he's the real villain all along. Surprise twist. Anyways, Romeo and Juliet now live together. Somehow they're bigger. The human families ended up getting together somehow. I don't. Whatever. Anyway. So they're trying to put together this garden, particularly focusing on the centerpiece. So Romeo wants to get this flower thing, and Juliet's doing her own thing, and yeah, anyway. So we see Sherlock make more Watson look like if they didn't want to give enough of a hint earlier, they'd give us more of a hint that Watson's going to do something later on in the movie. We see that gnomes are now missing on the news, so on and so forth. We see this Benny guy, one of the gnomes, I guess. I don't know if he was even in the first movie. He's like interested in this frog for some reason. I don't know if that was a thing in the first movie, but whatever. Um, so yeah, Nomeo's looking for the flower, and then Benny's helping him, proving useless, giving him useless feedback or whatever. And then like he gets like into trouble, and then Juliet gets him like super fast. So, anyways, uh, Sherlock is looking at this map thing. It builds an M, or that's what he assumes. Um, he goes into this mind space, figure out these clues about a 9. The two, Juliet and Romeo, after having their argument about, like, she was like, "Oh, I need to look after the garden first," and he was like, "But what about me? I'm super selfish." Um, and all that nonsense. But anyways, they end up following Sherlock and Watson. Um, and they tell them they have to play Moriarty's game. They go to this area. It's like this area, Japan area, I guess. So they talk to these cats and this small figure. Um, and then they knock over the cats at one point because the cats are getting mad for whatever reason. I kind of forgot why. And then they have to run, look for the next clue, blah, blah, blah. They end up getting into chase scene on the bus, end up on a bus. Of the two of them splitting up once again. So Watson is with Romeo and Sherlock is with Juliet in that way. So Juliet spots something, and then Watson and the other guy, Romeo, see a gargoyle, and then it's all like, oh, gargoyles are associated with Moriarty for reasons. I don't know if that was a thing. I don't even know if that was a thing beforehand, but whatever. So they see Watson almost fall, and they hear a crash, but they don't see him crash. I was like, oh, I wonder if Watson's actually gonna be the not villain now, cause the crash. Anyways, they get another clue, blah blah blah. Sherlock says emotion is the enemy of logic, and you know it's like the whole point of this movie, I guess. Like the morals to, you know, not let one completely overdo the other, have a balance between emotion and logic. I mean, probably could have made a better movie than this to tell that moral, but whatever. So Juliet hears Sherlock make the line she said earlier in the movie to Romeo, but this time she's being told that same line. So that makes her so upset. Anyways, Romeo finds his mom and her dad and the rest of the gnomes that are just partying for some reason, even though they were captured. They were tricked somehow. I guess gnomes aren't that smart, or at least those gnomes aren't, the vast majority of them. Anyway, Juliet and Sherlock end up going to this park, get another clue, dog chases them, they get a clue button, or whatever. Then, while that's going on, Benny acts like a distraction for one of the gnomes, and one of the gargoyles is like, yeah, distraction. So they meet this doll lady, and then she like sings about this clue. And Juliet afterwards is allowed back in and to talk about the situation with Romeo and how they would pick each other, make each other, you know, picking the right partner will make you stronger, not just looking for the right guy, or just not looking for a guy in general, but whatever. Anyway, again, this movie tries to fit in some good morals here and there, but its execution is very piss poor. Anyway, so the others start this distraction, and so on and so forth. Romeo manages to escape. The gargoyle, the other gargoyle gets them or whatever, bags them up. They see Watson, and he discloses that it was him all along, and he shows that the cards are actually W's instead of M's, because that's very clever. So anyways, the gargoyles end up grabbing Watson, and he ends up being shocked that the gargoyles would do such a thing. So they end up being put in this submarine, and then they find out that Moriarty actually is alive after all this time, and he tells his plan that he'll crush all the gnomes under a bridge. So Sherlock, Watson, and Juliet work together to escape before the gnomes get crushed. These other three gnomes work together to make sure this bridge that they are under does not get suppressed and they get crushed forever. So, Nomeo takes care of the gargoyles using lights and tricks and all this other stuff. Moriarty as a villain continues throughout his entire run in this movie, making cliches as an overbearing villain and what a villain normally does and blah blah blah. Anyways, after they freeze the gargoyles and after all that happens, Benny gets to say the love thing for the frog, because that was a thing all this time. Again, just a pointless sort of subplot thing going on there. Anyways, she starts, Sherlock starts fighting Moriarty, blah blah blah. Moriarty throws his hat at the device that they are on. They're on this recording device or whatever it was. So Sherlock pushes Moriarty off. Watson catches them, and then they see that Moriarty just falls in the water. And, as I said, Ben gets to kiss this little frog or whatever, and Nomeo and Juliet plant their little flower centerpiece, and then they kiss, and then Watson and Sherlock walk off, and that was Sherlock Gnomes. What a waste of time that was for me. I never even understood why they did the first movie. Besides to try to attempt to make apparently this franchise. I don't know if it's gonna be a franchise. I mean, this is now their second movie. And I feel like they tried to put in some more morals in this than they did in the first one, other than, that's, the typical story or whatever, but, this has been done so much better. I mean, for goodness sake, Mulan 2 did this better. And that's not even a good comparison, because Mulan 2, I mean, that's not good. If I could say that, if I could just instantly say that, I didn't even have to think about it. Mulan 2, again, dealing with, the two main leads being, so much different from each other. That's just Mulan 2. The whole Sherlock Gnomes part is... Again, it feels like they were trying to tell two different stories and collided them together. That's exactly what this movie is colliding two stories together. There's some bits here where Sherlock Gnomes has his thinking moments or whatever, and it just looks weird. I'm trying to think if there's anything good. Maybe just the morals that they tried to get across. There was that one between Nomeo and Juliet, you gotta pick, a good partner or whatever. And then there was the other one I mentioned at some point in my notes, which I'm trying to look for right now, of you gotta do whatever. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's another movie where I could, if I knew what the moral that I mentioned earlier was, I probably could think of a better movie for it. But anyways, I'm gonna give this movie a 2 out of 10, and the only reason I'm even giving it that much is because of the two little morals they stuck in there. They managed to stick in there. That's the only reason, really. Other than that, that was Sherlock Gnomes. And hey, if you enjoyed my little rant of this movie, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out that link in the description. It'll head you over to my Patreon page, and any donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.